Leo, my radiant soul. If you found your way to this video today, trust that it is no accident. The universe has brought you here at the exact moment you were meant to hear this. And not just to hear it, but to receive it, to let it stir something deep inside your spirit that has long awaited its awakening. Let me ask you a question, not for your mind to answer, but for your heart. What if the biggest financial blessing of your life is already on the way and the only thing left for you to do is to open the door? This video was created with one clear purpose: to help you recognize and align with the massive shift in abundance that is moving toward you right now. And Leo, it's not just about money. It's about what this money represents: freedom, restoration, validation, divine reward. You see, there's something different in the air today. A sense that your past efforts, the unseen work, the sacrifices, the silent endurance are being noticed by a higher intelligence. And this intelligence? It's preparing a response. That response, Leo, is wealth. And that wealth doesn't come because you chased it. It comes because you're finally in alignment with what you deserve. Here on Eternal Mindfulness, we don't just talk predictions, we uncover truth. We reconnect you with the ancient rhythms of tarot, astrology, universal energy, and spiritual law, so you remember who you are, why you're here, and what you're truly capable of calling into your life. You are not just a Leo sun or moon. You are the embodiment of solar fire, leadership, loyalty, courage, creation. And for too long, you've given without receiving equally. That imbalance is being corrected. The wheel of fortune is turning, and your name is being called. But here's the truth: abundance doesn't knock loudly. It whispers. And if you've made it here today, it means your soul heard the whisper, the soft call that told you something big is coming. Stay open. So now, I ask you to anchor this energy with intention. Take a moment to comment below: I am open to receiving my abundance, as a sacred agreement between you and the universe. This simple act plants the seed in fertile soil, where intention meets manifestation. Before we dive deeper, let me take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for your presence. Every view, every comment, every like, and every new subscriber brings this growing spiritual family, the Eternal Mindfulness community, closer together. Your support isn't just appreciated. It's the very heartbeat of this space. And Leo, trust me when I say this, you'll want to stay with me until the very end of today's message. What the universe is revealing through the cards, through the stars, and through your energy is not just a shift. It's a moment of sacred recalibration that may change everything. So, are you ready? Let's begin. There comes a moment in every Leo's journey when the roar softens, not because it has lost its strength, but because the soul is listening more deeply than ever before. This moment, where external noise fades and internal truth begins to stir, is what today's energy truly speaks to. You've walked through a season of self-doubt, of questioning your value in friendships, in love, in finances, areas where you gave so much of yourself and yet felt unseen, unsupported, or worse, betrayed. But this isn't a story of defeat. This is a story of emergence. The Judgment card doesn't appear to shame you for the confusion or fear. It arrives like a clear bell echoing in the fog, calling you to rise not towards something new, but back into what you already are. It is a card of conscious return, not reckless rebirth. And for you, Leo, this return is into your original frequency: courage, clarity, and divine self-worth. The times you felt uncertain were not signs of weakness, they were sacred pauses for recalibration. You were not broken. You were being rewired. Strength, appearing in your own signs reading, affirms this. But we must understand true strength is not brute force, nor is it resistance. It is the soft power of staying open in the face of pain. It is patience when chaos begs for reaction. It is the quiet moment when you choose to breathe instead of fight. This card reminds you that healing doesn't always look like a battle won. Sometimes, it looks like sitting beside your inner child, placing a hand on their shoulder, and whispering, "You are safe now. I see you." The moon deepens this journey inward, asking you to sit with the illusions, not to believe them, but to understand them. Perhaps you've told yourself stories that were never yours. Perhaps you internalized fears projected onto you by others, a parent, a partner, a system. The moon doesn't blame you for the confusion. It simply holds a mirror, not to your flaws, but to your forgotten wisdom. This is where we practice a form of compassionate clarity, to rewrite the scripts we unknowingly recited. This is where inner talk transforms. Take a moment to reflect. What are 3 things others have said to you that made you shrink? And now, what 3 truths can you claim that make you stand taller? This is not a trick of affirmation. It's a return to inner authority. The metaphor here is unmistakable. You, Leo, have walked through fire not to be burned, but to be refined. Like a phoenix rising from the ash, you are not simply escaping the past, you are transforming it into the very wings that now lift you. And what you leave behind is not your story. What you leave behind is the version of you that no longer needs to beg to be seen, heard, or valued. There is a teaching simple, yet profound, that says, when we stop resisting what is, peace arrives not as a guest, but as a homecoming. You have nothing to force, nothing to prove. You are not behind. You are arriving. Let this part of your journey not be about trying harder, but about softening into your truth. Let the roar within you rise again, not in defiance, but in remembrance of who you've always been. And as you move forward, know this: it is not the world outside that grants you strength, it is your gentle return to the fire already burning within. Just as you begin to remember your strength, the energy shifts quietly, but unmistakably into motion. You've steadied yourself through the emotional fog, and now, without needing to chase or force, life begins to respond. The wheel of fortune turning in your favor is not about luck falling from the sky, it's about alignment. This card reminds us that when the inner landscape shifts, when we reclaim our center and dissolve doubt, the outer world rearranges itself to match that clarity. It doesn't reward striving. It responds to readiness. You may have felt, in recent times, like you were standing at a financial crossroads. Maybe the numbers didn't add up, or maybe you had a choice between security and passion, between the predictable and the path that truly calls your name. The Two of Pentacles reveals that you've been juggling not only decisions, but entire versions of yourself, one that survives, and one that thrives. It's exhausting trying to live between them. But now the energy is clearing. The gate is opening. And you are being asked not just to choose, but to embody abundance as a natural state, not a distant dream. The Ace of Pentacles confirms that this is a new beginning, and not just in theory. This is tangible. This is the offer, the opportunity, the seed. But it's only a seed, and how you hold it will determine how it grows. Will you cradle it with belief? Or will you bury it under the soil of your old fears? What makes this moment powerful is not the money itself, but what it symbolizes, a shift in identity. You're no longer the one waiting to receive. You are now the one who magnetizes what matches your worth. Let's look deeper. In the quiet teachings of ancient wisdom, there's a truth that says, the root of suffering is clinging to outcomes, expectations, or definitions of success shaped by others. This moment asks you to release those attachments. Not to give up on wealth, but to redefine it. What if abundance was not something you chased, but something you relaxed into? What if the more you softened, the more life could offer? What if the most powerful financial move you made this month was breathing with intention? Try this. Inhale as if you're drawing in light, fullness, security. Let that breath expand your belly. And on the exhale, imagine letting go of fear, of control, of urgency. Do this for just 7 minutes a day. Not to change the world, but to change your field, your vibration, your posture, your presence. This subtle shift creates space, and that space is what allows wealth to enter. Numerologically, the number 15 is your call to decisive action. It's not about waiting for permission or signs. It's about moving as if you already believe. Meanwhile, 74 is your reminder that everything worth having must also be protected. So while you invite prosperity, also create structure. Write the financial plan not from desperation, but from the version of you who already has what they desire. Write it as if you're guiding your future self, not convincing them, but confirming what you both already know is possible. The golden hue surrounding this energy isn't accidental. It's the color of the solar plexus, your center of willpower, confidence, and personal authority. When this center is active, you no longer wait for life to say yes. You say yes first, and life reflects it. Wear gold, surround yourself with its warmth. Let it remind you that abundance is not given, it is allowed. This chapter is not about chasing money. It's about remembering that you are the source, and the flow begins when you stop fearing the tide and start moving with it. When you begin to soften into abundance, something else begins to stir, not in your wallet, but in your heart. After all, the way you allow love into your life often mirrors the way you allow life itself to touch you. And Leo, your heart is sacred territory. You've guarded it well, sometimes with fire, sometimes with silence, and always with good reason. But now, the energy is shifting. Not to demand that you rush into connection, but to remind you that healing has quietly been taking place. Whether you've noticed it or not, something within you has already begun to trust again. The Lover's card doesn't just speak of romance. It speaks of alignment, of choices made not from fear or loneliness, but from a deep knowing that the soul no longer wishes to compromise. You are no longer interested in love that demands you shrink, perform, or become less radiant. The love you're preparing to welcome or deepen is one that mirrors your truth back to you without distortion. And this is what makes it so powerful. The King of Cups is the quiet guardian of emotional wisdom. He doesn't flinch when emotions rise, nor does he run when intimacy begins to stretch the heart's edges. He listens. He holds space. And perhaps most importantly, he knows when to speak gently and when to simply be present. This card arriving for you now suggests that whether you're in a relationship or not, you are becoming this king, calm, centered, ready. You are learning to meet your emotions with kindness instead of control, and this emotional maturity becomes the foundation for deeper, more meaningful connections. Then comes the Three of Cups, a symbol of joy, reunion, and emotional celebration. This is the reminder that love doesn't only live in grand gestures or soulmate encounters. It's in the moments of laughter with people who see you. It's in the way you open your chest just a little wider when someone makes you feel safe. It's in the conversations that don't need fixing, just hearing. If you're in a relationship, this is your invitation to pause and be fully present, not to analyze or improve, but simply to listen. 1 hour. No distractions. Just attention. That offering alone has the power to transform a dynamic. And if you're on your own, the universe is gently nudging you to move from waiting to readiness. To become so full of love for your own being that you no longer search, you attract. Write down 5 qualities you desire in a partner, but don't stop there. Ask yourself, do I offer these same qualities to myself? Do I hold space for my own joy, creativity, softness, ambition? If not, start there. Love, after all, is an echo. It responds to what we embody, not what we chase. The number 6 carries the vibration of harmony and union, not just with others, but within. It whispers of balance between giving and receiving, between intimacy and autonomy. And here lies a beautiful paradox. When you stop needing someone to complete you, you make space for someone to meet you. Think of yourself as fire, warm, illuminating, alive. The right person will not fear your light, nor try to dim it. They will simply sit beside it and offer their own. But first, you must believe your flame is worthy of being seen. Healing isn't the absence of pain. It's the quiet decision to let love enter again, not through the same door as before, but through a new opening, one created from strength, wisdom, and willingness. And Leo, whether you realize it yet or not, that door is already open. When the heart begins to heal, the body inevitably follows. Everything is connected, not only in concept, but in experience. And after you've softened into emotional readiness and begun to invite love back into your field, your body becomes the next sacred space that calls for presence. The star card illuminates this perfectly. It's not a symbol of dramatic transformation, but of subtle, steady alignment. Of light returning not as a flash, but as a gentle glow, guiding you back to wholeness through rest, trust, and the quiet rituals that sustain life. The body, like the earth, has its seasons. And for you, Leo, the past cycle may have felt more like winter, restlessness at night, scattered energy during the day, and a sense that something physical was off, even if you couldn't name it. The star reminds us that healing is rarely loud. It's in the water we forget to drink, the breath we hold too long, the sleep we keep sacrificing. It's in the choices that seem small, but when made with care, become transformative. The King of Pentacles enters here not just as a figure of abundance, but of grounded stewardship. He represents the version of you that honors your body as part of your wealth, not separate from it. He does not chase peak performance, but consistency. He doesn't demand perfection, but balance. And this is your invitation now, not to push harder, but to pause and truly ask, what does my body need to feel safe today? Not what it needs to look good, or to impress, but to be well, to be at ease in its own rhythm. Start simple. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Begin by returning to what your body already knows. Magnesium-rich foods like pumpkin seeds or leafy greens aren't just nutrients, they are grounding tools, helping regulate the nervous system that has carried your stress like a quiet soldier. Avoiding screens after a certain hour isn't just about blue light, it's about reclaiming the sacred boundary between your inner world and the noise outside of it. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's your mind's reset, your immune system's anchor, and your soul's quiet meeting with stillness. There's a gentle practice worth trying now. Place your hand on your chest each morning and ask, "What do you need from me today?" Wait for the answer. Don't force it. It may arrive as a word, a feeling, or an urge. Trust it. Write it down if you can. This isn't about productivity, it's about reconnection. About letting the wisdom of your physical being speak without being rushed. Balance doesn't mean equal parts of everything. It means presence in the right places. A cup filled too fast spills over. One filled too slowly evaporates. But one filled mindfully and emptied with intention sustains life. That's the balance the King of Pentacles teaches. It's practical, it's steady, and it's deeply personal. If the color olive green or silver has been showing up for you lately, pay attention. These shades are not random. Olive invites stability, calm, and heart-based discipline. Silver brings reflection, intuition, and rest. Surround yourself with these tones in clothing, candles, journals, not because they will change you, but because they support the version of you who is already changing. The truth is, we can't hold more of anything, not love, not wealth, not inspiration, if our vessel is depleted. So treat your body as the sacred vessel it is. Not as a machine to fix, but as a field to nourish. In stillness, you begin to hear. In rhythm, you begin to trust. And in care, you begin to rise, not in flashes, but in light that lasts. After tending to your body's quiet signals and grounding yourself in rhythm, what begins to rise is not just energy, it's clarity. Something inside you starts to realign, like pieces of a puzzle shifting without force, finally fitting into place. You may not be able to explain it, but you can feel it, a soft inner certainty that the tide is changing. This is where the cards begin to speak with startling precision. The sun returns now, not only as a symbol of joy but as a moment of visibility, the kind of illumination that allows you to see what was always there, waiting for you to recognize it. And more importantly, it allows others to see you more clearly too. This isn't about performing or proving. It's about standing in the truth of who you are with nothing to hide and nothing to fix. When the sun shines, there's no space for pretense. Only presence. And for Leo, ruled by this very celestial body, it's a homecoming. A return to radiance not borrowed from others, but awakened from within. The Wheel of Fortune, circling back again, affirms that this is not random. The timing of what you're about to experience, whether a breakthrough in finances, a sudden opportunity, or a connection that feels destined, is not by chance. This is what happens when inner readiness meets outer alignment. It doesn't matter how long you've been waiting. What matters is that you stayed open long enough for the door to appear. And now that it's here, the question becomes, will you walk through it? The Nine of Cups offers the answer and the invitation. Often called the wish-fulfilled card, it signals not only satisfaction but the kind of fulfillment that flows from the inside out. This is not about acquiring more for the sake of having. It's about receiving what matches your inner clarity. The dreams that are ripening now are the ones seeded from your soul, not your ego. And that's why they carry a different weight. They're not loud, but they're true. They don't impress, they belong. Look for the signs. They rarely arrive in dramatic fashion. More often, they slip into your day through the back door. A chance meeting with someone from your past who reminds you of who you've become. A small gift from a stranger that warms something deeper than your hands. A burst of motivation to start that project you've avoided, not out of guilt but genuine excitement. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of momentum, confirmations that life is turning in your favor, even if you're still learning how to believe it. If any part of this message is already showing up in your reality, take a moment and comment below, "My blessing is on its way." That declaration is not for the algorithm, it's for your alignment. Sometimes we speak things aloud not because we doubt them, but because we're finally ready to claim them. And tonight, as the day closes, give yourself the gift of reflection. Write down 5 things you're grateful for, not just what's working, but also what you survived. Gratitude isn't about sugarcoating life. It's about recognizing the grace that moves through it, even when things are messy or uncertain. Gratitude clears the fog. And once the fog lifts, direction becomes effortless. The truth is, turning points don't always look like thunder. Sometimes they look like stillness. A breath. A page in your journal. A quiet knowing that says, "I don't need to chase this anymore. It's already arriving." That's where you are now, on the edge of fulfillment, standing still just long enough for life to catch up. As we gently bring this journey to a close, I want to remind you of something deeply simple, yet easily forgotten. Prosperity doesn't always begin with a number in your account, it often begins with a quiet shift in your belief. A subtle moment when you stop asking, "Do I deserve this?" and start affirming, "Of course I do." The kind of wealth we speak of here is not only measured in coins or contracts. It is measured in clarity, in courage, in the way you walk back into your life feeling just a little more rooted in your own power. You haven't come this far by accident. You've listened, reflected, opened your heart where it once felt easier to shut down. That alone is an act of wealth, not material, but spiritual, emotional, energetic. And Leo, you of all signs know this truth better than most. You don't have to chase the sun when you are the one who carries it. So I ask you now, not as a fortune teller, but as someone walking beside you, what would happen if you actually trusted this? If you trusted that the version of you who is free, abundant, magnetic is not someone you're trying to become, but someone you're remembering? What would shift in your choices today if you truly believed you're already on the path, not behind it? Maybe it means going back to that plan you tucked away. Maybe it means taking 5 minutes to breathe, to write, to feel instead of scroll. Maybe it's that one conversation you've been avoiding, the one that could actually set you free. Or maybe it's simply choosing not to abandon yourself again in the name of waiting for the right moment. Because what if this is the right moment? If today's message resonated with you, even just one line, one truth, one flicker of recognition, I invite you to mark this energy by commenting below, "I am ready to receive abundance." Not for me, not for this channel, but for you, for the part of you that's finally ready to say yes out loud. Your presence here matters more than you know. Every like, every comment, Every subscription brings this space to life and allows eternal mindfulness to keep offering these messages to souls who, just like you, are walking the path of awareness and growth. From the deepest part of my being, thank you for showing up, for being curious, for staying with yourself even through the hard days. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can keep growing together. And if someone in your life needs to hear this energy too, don't hesitate to share it. Light is not something we lose by giving it, it multiplies. So go on now, Leo. Continue to shine without asking permission. Trust that the universe heard your quiet prayers, and it's already at work behind the scenes, within your heart, and through the life that's unfolding one bold, beautiful step at a time. You're not waiting anymore. You're arriving.